Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Classic Movie Buffet Theater. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the content. I just want to say thank you to the new subscribers. We jumped from 113 to 115, which is fantastic. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in each video. Now, for today's video, we are going to talk about a classic comedy from 1984, directed by the Jeff Canoe. And he's also directed such films as Gotcha, Tough Guys, and Troop Beverly Hills. Now, I have not seen Gotcha, and I have not seen Tough Guys, but I have seen Troop Beverly Hills, and it was a funny movie. It was real funny. It had Goldie Hawn was in that. I do want to check out Tough Guys. Uh, Gotcha, I'm not sure about, but I do want to watch Tough Guys. And the film we're going to talk about today is the classic comedy Revenge of the Nerds. And it stars the great Robert Carradine, who plays the character of Lewis. And he's also played in such films as Escape from L.A., Ghosts of Mars by John Carpenter. And he played in the 1977 classic Orca, the Killer Whale. That was a good movie. That was a really good movie. All three films were really good. I liked them. It also stars Anthony Edwards, who plays Gilbert. And he also played in such films as Top Gun, Pet Sematary 2, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is a classic. All three films were fantastic. Uh, it also stars the great Julia Montgomery, who plays the character of Betty, and she also played in such films as Milk Money, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot with the great Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty. And she also played in the 1987 horror classic The Kindred. Now, I've seen Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, and I've seen The Kindred. I have never watched Milk Money. Don't hate me in the comments, but I've never seen that film. It's got Ed Harris in it, which I like Ed Harris. He does pretty well in some of his movies. So I may end up checking that out sometime or other. Maybe my fiance will make me watch it one day and we can watch it together. All right, so the plot for this film is at Adams College, a group of bullied outcasts and misfits resolve to fight back for their peace and self-respect. And this movie is hilarious. Okay, so let's get into the trailer for Revenge of the Nerds. Here we go.
Star Wars, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sound of Music. In the tradition of these great films about fighting back against the odds, 20th Century Fox presents another milestone in motion picture history. Revenge of the Nerds.
Nerds?
Nerds.
Nerds!
What is a nerd?
They've been laughed at, picked on,
There's a roommate, pal!
and put down.
I'm not kissing a nerd.
They don't have the moves or the muscle,
You know karate? No. Good.
but they've got the brains.
I know what we're gonna do.
It's time for the odd to get even.
Their action tonight demands an immediate retaliation.
How many cameras do we have left?
This should do it.
Oh, here she comes.
Go up, go up.
Oh, no.
That nerd saw me naked.
Nerds!
Are all nerds as good as you?
Revenge of the Nerds. Their time has come.
I drink to that.
All right, that was a trailer for Revenge of the Nerds from 1984. It was made on a budget of $8 million, but the worldwide gross for this film was $40,874,000 $452. That is a big take from a film like this, and it spawned like three sequels. Um, I enjoyed the first two more than I did part three and four. I think four was actually like a made-for-TV movie or direct-to-video or something like that. But two and three were fantastic. I love both of those films. This is the ultimate Misfits revenge movie. This movie became an instant classic in 1984 with some of the most memorable scenes and quotable dialogue since Young Frankenstein. With an immensely talented cast ranging from those who became huge stars like John Goodman to underrated talents like Curtis Armstrong, this perfectly crafted comedy benefits from an outstanding cast who make the film that much more special. One of the many college campus films made in the 80s and into the 90s, this has to be one of the very best. An 80s classic by any stretch of the imagination. I loved all the characters in this film. Um, I want to say pretty much my favorite one was probably Point Dexter. Timothy Busfield played the character of Point Dexter. He was hilarious in this movie. They were all great, but Point Dexter is probably my favorite one. Him and Booger. Booger was a good character in this film. Okay, so some trivia on the film here. Point Dexter's glasses are so thick that Timothy Busfield couldn't see through them. In scenes where he moves, he is usually guided by a companion. Uh, there was a lot of scenes in that movie where he does kind of walk around and move around, and you'll see somebody leading him. There's one scene where he kind of gets into a little spat with a robot. He didn't move very much in that, so he didn't need anybody there. But throughout the film, you'll see people guiding him because he can't see with those glasses on, which is pretty cool. The camera planting scene was filmed in an old rat-infested house. Only the hallway was decorated to look nice for the film. There's a scene where they plant cameras inside the girls' dorm. Like I said, the most of the scenes were in a rat-infested house, but the hallway looked really good. Clean and painted. I think even some of the dorm rooms were renovated to look nice. In a couple of scenes during that altercation with the nerds and the female dorms, the ladies' dorms. But for the most part, it was in an old place where they filmed it. John Goodman's character is never referred to by his name verbally, only seen on the locker room door and in the ending credits. So throughout the whole film, they never called him by his real name. They just called him Coach through the whole film. And the only way you knew what his last name was, or his first name, whichever one it is, was on the locker room door in the gym or in the end credits when they rolled the credits at the end of the film. I would say that's probably not the first time that's ever happened in a film. As a matter of fact, I probably know it's not. I'm just not thinking about it really. But I'm pretty sure that happens quite often in film. Curtis Armstrong, who played Booger, initially did not want the role of Booger. He originally read for the role of Gilbert. That kind of threw me for a minute. I'm not saying Curtis Armstrong is a terrible actor. He's not a terrible actor by any means by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see him as Gilbert though. He was he fit Booger more than he would have Gilbert. So I could see where they didn't, give him that role, but at least they still let him play a character in the film. But he's phenomenal as Booger. He's phenomenal as Booger. The University of Arizona agreed to let the company shoot at the campus, then revoked permission after they read the script, eventually changing their minds again, and many students were used as extras in the film. So, apparently apparently the script of the film was a little bit too, maybe a little bit too raunchy uh, for their liking. So they didn't want to. At first, they gave them permission, and they said no. And we read the script. We don't want that type of movie filmed here or whatever. But then they later on let them film it anyways, which is cool. And allowing a lot of the students to be extras in the film was probably cool too. Let's see what else we got here. Booger's bizarre interaction with a reclusive homeowner through a mail slot was improvised. Originally, Booger was to smear snot on a rude housewife's front door. I myself, I probably would have found it funny if they would have done that, but it just nasty. Okay, it's just nasty. All right, but I probably would have found it funny anyways because it would have fit the film. I am filming outside, so you're probably going to hear trucks and stuff go by. Sorry about that, but All right, so the sequence of the alpha betas roasting marshmallows over the smoldering remains of their frat house was ad-libbed. So they didn't have any idea that would be that would fit. Excuse me, that would fit in the film. But it made for a funny scene, especially when they were singing my house is burning down. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. A little snippet of hilarious of ad lib there. Professional wrestler Sting, otherwise known as Steve Borden, auditioned for the role of Ogre. He made it to the final two, and the role was given to Donald Gibb. Seeing Sting as a professional wrestler and the way he carried himself as a professional wrestler, I don't honestly think he would have fit the role of Ogre. Yeah, he was a big guy, but he didn't have. I don't think he had the range to really play a character such as Ogre. Donald Gibb was fantastic as Ogre, and I think, in my estimation, that's probably one of his most famous roles that he ever did was Ogre. So he fit the role perfectly. His look, the way he carried himself in the film, his demeanor was fantastic. Fantastic. Donald Gibb shaved his beard to play Ogre. Casting directors thought it made him look too old to be a college student. Okay. Maybe back in the day they worried about that a little bit more. But nowadays we've seen it I don't know how many freaking times in a film. They have somebody that's playing either a college student or a high school student, and they look like they're freaking 21 or 24 years old. Maybe like I said, maybe they worried about it more back in the day, back in the early 80s and 90s, but nowadays they don't really worry about that much. But this was a great comedy film. It's fantastic. It's kind of like Animal House, more or less. More kind of like Animal House and American Pie mixed together. There were some, not real well. There were some wild scenes in this film. Something that really hadn't been done a whole lot back in the day, but nowadays it's just like blah. It's there. People don't pay a whole lot of attention to it as much as they would have back in the 80s, because they really kind of pushed the envelope back in the 80s because they were doing things that hadn't been seen in a movie before. So it fit perfect. This movie was fantastic. It's one of my favorite comedies. I haven't watched it in a while, actually, but I do need to go back and watch it because it is a great film. I enjoy it so much. It's hilarious. Gilbert and Lewis and all the characters were fantastic in the film. I thoroughly enjoyed this film very much. John Goodman was fantastic. It's an excellent movie. So if you haven't seen it before, do go back and check it out. I think I've got a little visitor here. What do you know? I got a little visitor. Probably somebody from down the neighborhood there. I'll take it down to them in a minute. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching the video today. If you have not seen Revenge of the Nerds, do go check it out because it's a fantastic film. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. So with that being said, I will see you guys on Saturday for Mikey's Saturday Nightmares. Until then, adios. See you in the next one.